Yay for your first video as a freshman in Algebra 1. Today we are going to introduce integers. You should already be familiar with these, but we're just going to do a quick little review. First thing we're going to look at is our number line. Remember, on your number line, as you move to the right, so as you move to the right, we are going to be adding. We add. So if you start at one number, so say we start at 1, if we're moving to the right, our numbers are increasing. So we are adding. If we move to the left, we are subtracting. We subtract. So if you start at 2 and you're subtracting 5, you are moving to the left 5 spots and your number decreases. So just make sure you remember how to be familiar with your number line. So one thing we want to take a look at here above it, we have to remember though, you cannot have two signs side by side. So when you look at an equation, you cannot have two numbers or two signs that are side by side. When they are side by side, that is almost like multiplication. Anytime in Algebra 1, anytime two things are side by side, you can almost think of it as multiplication. So a positive times a negative is going to give you a negative. Or just, you can know if the signs are different, it turns to a big old negative sign. So you would rewrite this as -4. My pens do not want to work today. You would rewrite this as -4. A positive and a negative turns to a big old negative. -5. So if you go down to your number line and you start at -4 and you subtract 5, subtraction means we move to the left. So we're going 1, 2, 3 would be at -7, 4 would be at -8, 5 would be at -9. Notice how I use my number line to help. Same thing here. You have two negative signs, or a minus and a negative, side by side. Two operators are side by side. You cannot have that. So a negative times a negative equals a big old positive. So just know if the sign's the same, if it's a minus and negative, it turns to a positive. So this would be -3 plus 7 equals, come to your number line, start at -3. We're adding because it's plus 7, so we move to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives us 4. Okay. The key thing to remember here again is you cannot have two operators or two signs that are side by side. If they're different, it will be a negative. If it's the same, it's going to be a positive. Okay, so let's take a look at example 1 on our adding side. Example 1, this is pretty easy. 7 plus 2, most of y'all can do that in your head or on your fingers. 7 plus 2 is 9. But again, be conscious of your number line. If you started at 7, and we're adding, so we're going to move to the right. So if you go 1, 2 to the right, you have 8 and then 9. That is your answer. And we move to the right. Now -4 plus 1. If you cannot do that in your head, draw your number line. If you are at -4, and it's plus, so we know we're going to be moving to the right. So if we add 1, what happens to our number line when we move to the right with negatives? Remember, our numbers get smaller. So it'd be -3. So Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. Moving down. Well, what do we see? We have minus and negative. Remember, if the signs are the same, it turns to a positive. So now you have negative 2 plus 4 equals, draw your number line. If you're at negative 2, we're adding, so we're going to be moving to the right. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives you negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. You come over to the subtraction side. Same thing, use your number line. If you cannot do it in your head, use your number line. So if you start off at 5, now we are subtracting. So what direction are we going to be moving? We're going to be moving to the left. So we start at 5, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1. There's your answer. Just negative 1. Negative 2 minus 3. If you start at negative 2, it's minus, so we're moving to the left. 1, 2, 3. Remember, on your number line, your negative numbers get bigger as the value is less or gets smaller. So negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. I guess I left out the equal sign there. Then coming down, again, we have two operators that are side by side. Plus a negative is going to turn into one big old negative. So now we have negative 5 minus 2 equals, draw your number line. Negative 5 minus means to the left. 2 is going to give you negative 7. If you have questions tomorrow, you write them down and we will answer those. Now jumping down to your triangle. This is a little tool some of my students last year taught me. If you fill in your triangle with a plus sign here, a minus sign, and a minus sign. This will help you with addition or multiplication and division. If the signs are different, if you have a positive number and a negative number, you hide the positive and negative and your answer will be whatever's left over. If you have two negative numbers, you hide it and your answer is whatever's left over. So your rule for same signs when multiplying, the signs are the same, you will have a positive answer. So for example, 3 times 4 is 12. Negative 2 times negative 6 is still a positive 12. If you have different signs, you will have a negative answer. So for example, negative 4 times 5 is a negative 20. And again, you can use your triangle if you wanted to. Negative 2 times negative 6. Negative 2 is negative. Negative 6 is negative. If you look over here, what's left is a positive number. My 12 was positive. Here, negative 4 is negative. 5 is positive. What's left over? A negative sign. So my answer is going to be negative. Division is the exact same way. If you have the same signs, it's a positive number. So your examples could be 6 divided by 2 is 3. Or negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. Different signs give you a negative answer. So the example there can be 12 divided by a negative 4 will give you negative 3. You can use the triangle also on this. Negative 8 and negative 4 are both negative. So what's left is positive. Your answer is positive. 12 is positive. Negative 4 is negative. So your answer is going to be negative. Okay, when you get to class tomorrow, we'll be gluing these into your notebook. These will be your first set of notes. Come to class prepared tomorrow. Hope you have a good night. Bye.